Hey YouTube people, thanks a lot for hopping by to my brand new channel. I'm Wick and I've only edited a couple of videos and I've received literally hundreds of feedbacks via comments, private messages in game and in Discord, not to mention the fact that you guys subscribe to the channel hundreds of times in what, few hours? Well, that's really flattering, thank you. So I've decided that I'll take some more time to make videos in the future and also take this opportunity to discuss some competitive aspects of the game and maybe offer you another point of view about very important topics that as of today are still not very clear. Beforehand, I'd like to say that the topic of this video is something a bit tricky to talk about and there are still some shadows that we need to explore, and I might do that in some other videos in the next future. So, the dilemmas that I will try to offer an opinion about concern the normal attack damage and the skill damage, and how this relates to the ratio of severely wounded units. Let's make it simple. Is the normal attack damage benefiting you in pulling out some more juicy reports in terms of SEVs or not? And is it maybe better to have an AoE damage dealer on the field for more value? Well, I hope that the following testing will offer you some food for thoughts and maybe open a broader discussion. So let's get right into it. What are we seeing now on the field? We are using a Dragon Lancer without a second in command. Both of the parts have the same exact stats, meaning that we have the same VIP level. The commander is not listed in the commander page. By the way, if you don't know what the commander page is, click your avatar on the top left corner. Also, we don't have any individual token, such as attack or defense boost. Our commanders have no talent set whatsoever. And in this way, the difference in levels between my Dragon Lancer, here level 60, and Madame Bia's Dragon Lancer level 40 will be totally irrelevant. Also, it's worth mentioning that we are not in any alliance, we are battling in the regular map but outside alliance territory and we are not using any city skin. You may ask, John, how can you tell that everything between you is the same? Well, if you take a close look to the numbers appearing every turn on the screen, you can tell that everything is completely equal 100% from turn to turn. From the skills casting at the same time, to the attack, and to the damage that we are dealing on the field, everything is equal. So all of this will reflect on the battle report that I'm gonna show to you and break it down in a moment. Here on the side you can also see a picture of the stats of my tier 1 cavalry that we are using in this test, and trust me that they match completely the ones from Madame Bia. Also, I specify that we have chosen Dragon Lancer for an important reason. He has no randomness in the skills in his pool, so the reports are not going to be influenced by a small percentage of things happening here and there, maybe 10% of increasing the attack or raising the rage, etc. So let's go to the juicy part, shall we? Here's the first report that I'm gonna show to you on the screen. As you can see, we're using 10,000 tier 1 cavalry units, and yeah, we have the same amount of SEVs and slightly wounded units for a total casualty count of 10,000 of course, and in this way the ratio of SEVs is really easy to calculate. We chose this amount of troops, 10,000, so we just can move the comma by one space and we obtain a ratio of 11.25% of severely wounded units. So to make it simple, every 100 troops that you have on the field battling, you have 11 troops that have been sent directly to the hospital. You can also see the battle log where everything looks the same from beginning to the end. And yeah, we also die in the same exact turn at the very end. So what for? We now have a test 0, so to say, that we will use as a baseline to compare our next results. Now, in the first test part 1, I'm going to drag away my Dragon Lancer before he can cast any skill And it's worth mentioning that even if I'm getting attacked while I run away, in this perfect testing condition, at every attack corresponds a counterattack that has the same exact force. So if the enemy is inflicting 50 damage in the normal attack to me, while I don't attack him and I'm running away, I'm still gonna inflict 50 damage worth of counterattack, and the report in this way will still look equal. Basically, Newton's third law. In the first test, part 2, I'm gonna pull away after we cast the skill, and everything is gonna look equal in the report, except one little important thing. The ratio of sevs has changed. Yes, with normal attacks, we have a ratio of 10.81% of sevs, differently from the second results, where we have the ratio increasing to 10.84%. So that's why, looking back to the first report, the percentage has increased to the maximum ratio possible for this testing condition. I remember we are using T1. So if, for example, we increase the number of units to 100k, we are still gonna have a max ratio of 11.25%, corresponding to 11,250 sevs under the same conditions. So what's exactly happened here? Why did the skill damage actually increase the ratio of sevs in this testing? Well, let's go on and we'll answer this in a moment. So here we have Centurion, same conditions as before, except he has no relevant skills buffing the cavalry, and also he has no additional damage in his primary skill. Well, trust me, I run the same test again and again, and the additional damage factor does not influence the fact that the skill damage is increasing the ratio of sevs. Here we have me using a 5% attack boost, which Madame Bia does not have, and we can see from the report that I'm winning in the sevs ratio. Of course, you can run this test 100 times, it's not gonna change, and again, there is no RNG related to it. It's worth mentioning that the boost tokens are not displayed in the troop buffs page, but they are indeed working. I'm now using the defense buff instead of the attack, and again, Bia is not using anything, and surprise, well, but not too much. We already know that the defense boost is better. You can see that the sevs ratio has increased in the report when we are using the defense token. Now, one thing that could be somehow upsetting: who said that inflicting more damage will allow you to gain more rage? Well, it's the exact opposite. You can see in this report that with the same set of buffs, we are both inflicting the same damage and casting the skill on the same turn 11, but when things change and I use either attack or defense, and I'm inflicting more damage, this will allow the enemy to accumulate more rage and cast the skill one turn in advance, on turn 10. So he keeps gaining more lead each cycle of 10 turns, so after 10 cycles he will have casted one more active skill compared to me. So, which are our conclusions here? Well, first and foremost, that it is not true that the normal attack damage is always the way to go, and that in the same proportion, the normal attack damage will inflict more casualties to the enemy. In fact, the skill damage helps you get more value, at least on a basic principle. So how come Attila and Takeda is so good in swarming situations like ruins or altar in KVK, for example? Well, the answer is very simple. The little number on the screen that's displaying the damage each turn isn't other than the sum of the attack plus the counterattack damage. So even if I'm attacking another target and the third person, for example, comes and swarms me, he's gonna get the same damage he inflicts every turn in a perfect scenario like the one we are testing in. But there is a but. In the case of Attila and Takeda, with a so elevated amount of attack and counterattack buff, the enemy is actually getting more damage even if you are not attacking him directly. But the amount of sevs in a report is also determined by how fast you drop the health bar of your enemy. Because if you start nuking big, the delta between your health bar and the enemy's health bar will help you in the time, dealing more and more damage, and this translates directly into more wounded units. So no big deal that you're actually seeing in this report, spoiler alert for another video, Attila being beaten so hard by the nuke of Nebu and YSG. But that's another story to be told, and I'll be very happy to do that. In conclusion, I just want to say that video like this one require a ton of work between testing and editing, so it will be much appreciated if you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, activate the notification so you don't miss out on future content regarding the competitive part of Rise of Kingdoms. Also, leave a comment down below if you want, it will be nice to receive feedbacks and read all of your thoughts and questions on this topic. There is of course so much more to talk about, and I will also try my best to provide you footages of the testing that I will conduct. Have a good one, and I hope to see you soon on the next video. Ciao!